Hey, good morning, team. Got a great question from Jeff Kelly 7889. He's a 51-year-old marathoner, debuted with a 3:58 at the New York City Marathon. He asked a great question here. He said, I wish I had found your channel months ago. I am a 51-year-old new runner who just completed my first marathon, which was in New York. All things considered, I was quite happy with my 3:58.13 finishing time, but knew I could have made more progress doing things differently. Slow running is definitely something I will need to implement. To be honest, that marathon pace was my slowest run, and the hills bridges got me. I also got injured and had to run the marathon with shin splints and haven't run since. I'm no longer having pain in my legs, and I'm hoping to start back at it this week. I now know I need to build my base, which I didn't know before. My question is, what sort of mileage should I be putting in coming off an injury and being an older runner? Thank you. Jeff, thanks for your question, and awesome job breaking the 4-hour marathon barrier on that particular course. That was my debut marathon in 2002, so I remember the New York City course very well. There's a lot of hills on that, and to be able to run that type of time with shin splints and not being at 100% is pretty impressive. And considering also that this was your debut as well, I mean, it's tough to know exactly the amount of mileage which is perfect for you personally. I don't know your mileage that you've been putting in the past, but generally, it's just a touch and go, especially if you're just coming off an injury. Starting off maybe 15 to 20 miles a week. Or the equivalent in kilometers if you're not in the States. Here in the States, of course, we focus mainly on miles. But I think for general purposes, for the first 4 to 6 weeks, gradually see how you're feeling, especially the first and second week, maybe 15 to 20 miles. Maybe do some cross training as well in there. If you feel any type of tension, don't continue to train, as far as running on pavement and concrete. If at all possible, get in the deep end of a pool and do aqua jogging or pool running, because again, you can get in the deep end of a pool, wear a flotation device. It makes it a lot easier, and do your long runs. Just focus on your form, pumping your arms, pumping your legs. You'll have to definitely do that if you're not wearing a flotation device. But I think generally, again, if runners that are used to doing like 80 to 100 miles a week, even starting off at 15 to 20 miles a week, it's starting off like the first, second week, maybe one to the first couple weeks of a buildup, and then gradually after about 4 to 6 weeks of doing aerobic based mileage first, then you start focusing on more specific marathon type training. I don't think runners, especially if you're just coming off an injury, should just jump right into marathon specific training, because it's so aggressive, as we all know. It's very easy to build up inflammation, very easy also to have a higher likelihood of getting injured if you just jump into harder anaerobic training. I mean, as well, we have to build strengthen our ligaments and our tendons, and to do those types of things first. You lay the foundation. You don't just go and build a house without first building the foundation of the house first, or it's just going to crumble. It's the same definitely for marathon training as well. But I think that what you did there, and noticing too that you may be still running too fast on your recovery days, I think that is something any mature athlete that's wanting to get better needs to be cognitively telling themselves, okay, am I recovering properly? For you to continue to get faster, especially, well, in any event, it doesn't matter if you're training for the 800 meter on the track or you're training for a marathon. You have to focus on a gradual build-up and not running so fast on recovery days. So I think it's, a great example is Hillary Bohr, one of the best marathoners, best distance runners in America. He's a 2:10 marathoner. He's run 59:22 for the half marathon, and I think his PR for 5,000 is around 13:10. He runs 9-minute mile pace on his easy days. And for those of you who don't know who he is, I mean, go to Strava.com. First and foremost, definitely go to Strava.com. Check out my nephew's Strava page, Brock Pennington. Give him a shout out as well. Tell him that his uncle reached out, and definitely subscribe to him. But also because he's doing some great running too. So props to Brock out there if you're watching this video. Also, check out Hillary Bohr, because again, these level of runners, both Brock, who's definitely working his way up to elite status, as well as Hillary Bohr, if these types of athletes can slow down on recovery runs and not go so fast, then, and somebody at the caliber of Hillary Bohr, if he can run 9-minute mile pace, why can't you and I? You know what I mean? So, and there were times even in my prime where I would run 8 to 9-minute mile pace on my recovery runs, and I was able to work my fitness up to a point where I could hold 5:19 mile pace for a marathon distance. So running 3 to even 4 minutes plus, because there were times I'd run over 9-minute mile. I didn't care what pace I was running on easy days. So, Jeff, in your case too, really pay attention to that too, because I think if you give yourself about 48 hours of recovery in between each one of your if you do a hard track session in your next build up for your next marathon on, say, a Monday, give yourself 48 hours of recovery, easy jogging, then hammer that Thursday workout. Okay. In most cases, 24 hours to 48 hours, depending on the athlete and the overall fitness of the athlete, you can keep pushing the body, but you have to pay attention. If you already have that discipline to get out and run fast and to prepare for your marathons, so take that same discipline that you have to train fast and hard, also implement that on your easy days and just relax. Some of the world's top Ethiopians and marathoners and middle distance runners from Kenya that I've trained with over the years, they trotted on easy days. But our hard days when I was training with them were beyond hard. I mean, there were times, I remember when I was in college training with Gilbert Ruto. He was from Kenya, a Kenyan athlete, marathoner, PR of 2:10 for the marathon. And he liked to run for 1 hour of running 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. And I could never hold with him for up to an hour when I was in college, but I could hold up to about 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes with him. But our hard sections were running around 5-minute mile pace. Our easy sections were running like 6:30 mile pace. So it was extremely hard. But when I go and run with him on recovery days, I mean, children could run next to us. I mean, so it's very important as you prepare especially when you're just coming back, Jeff, from an injury, to take it easy. Don't be in a rush. And anybody else that's watching this, be very patient with yourself, giving yourself a bigger buildup for minimum time frame of 4 months for a buildup for a marathon, preferably 5 to 6 months. If you give yourself 6 months, you're going to set yourself up for success because you're giving yourself sufficient time to not only adapt. Remember what the late Dr. Joe Vigil said, one of the world's top distance running coaches, a world-renowned exercise physiologist. He sent his book, Road to the Top, that it takes about 28 days for your body to adapt to any physiological stress you're placing on it. So a 6-month buildup, you're giving yourself more time to properly adapt to what you're throwing at yourself, both on an aerobic base building phase, but also on an anaerobic mindset as well as you're preparing. But don't, if you're just starting off with, as Jeff asked, if you're just starting off and you're just coming off of a big build and you had an injury, play it one day at a time. Don't, if you're feeling, run for 2 days, take off 2 days. Run for a day, take off a day. And do that for like the first 1 to 2 weeks. See how you're feeling, 1 to 3 weeks even. And then gradually, if you're feeling like you're not having any pain, then start increasing your mileage, then working your way up. Remember, it's not just about the volume you're doing. In Jeff's case, I mean, maybe you're doing, Jeff, in your buildup, you were doing like 45 to 60 miles a week. You can still get great results on lower mileage. It's the quality of the mileage, not so much the volume that you're putting in, that's going to pay the biggest dividends. It's, again, working smart, not working hard. You could be running 100 to 110 miles a week or the equivalent kilometers and still not get the results that somebody else that's running 50% less is getting. It's about how are you setting up your training? Are you running too much of your mileage too slow, or are you running too much of your mileage too fast? And one of the biggest mistakes most runners make, and I made it earlier in my career until I wised up and really started to okay, I gotta chill out on these easy days. I don't need to be running in 6:30 mile pace on my easy days. Okay. And again, every athlete's different in terms of their capabilities. If you're in Jeff's case, Jeff's gotten to a point where he can hold under 9:09 mile pace or 5:41 kilometer pace. So other athletes that if you're trying to break 3 hours and you're trying to hold 6:52 mile pace or 4:16 kilometer pace, you have to be aware of the paces that you're running on those recovery days. So sometimes it's just important to take off the watch. If you know the distance of your course, that's the most important thing. Just focus on feel and not so much of your attention on what I'm running my kilometer pace is at this pace, or my per mile pace is at this particular intensity. On easy days, it can just be a relaxed jog. Really focus your attention on the harder days, the tempo runs, the hill repetitions, track sessions, varied pace long runs. Another thing, Jeff, is that if you're just, as you mentioned, you're new to the channel, don't get, especially in your next build-up, don't get in this habit of just running slow and easy every single weekend for your long runs. You need to start implementing faster, varied paced efforts, running a few of your kilometers, a few of your miles at VO2 max effort. And that may just be for, especially at VO2 max effort, it might just be for a few seconds to a couple minutes. Then running at anaerobic threshold effort, running around 88 to 92% of max heart rate. So again, improving your body's lactate tolerance. Jogging for several miles or several kilometers during that buildup or during that long run. That's a very paced long run. You're stressing different energy systems of the body, but not just running just relaxed and slow all of the time. That's still important. You still need to do long, slow, easy long runs, build your endurance, but you also have to work your stamina and your strength by doing those very paced efforts. But don't start doing very paced long runs until first you've done several weeks, minimum 4 weeks to 6 weeks of easy aerobic mileage before you start implementing, as I mentioned, more specific marathon training and running at faster efforts, faster than goal marathon race pace. So hope that answers your question, Jeff. Again, if you're just coming off an injury, see how you feel with 15 to 20 miles a week or the equivalent kilometers per week, and then gradually start increasing your mileage after you've spent several weeks running more relaxed, more easy. You can still do some strides 2 to 3 times a week, maybe 4 to 5 150 meter to 100 meter strides 2 to 3 times a week during your aerobic base building phase, so that again, if you have the itch to run faster, you can do those strides. They're too short to build up any significant lactic acid. So that's something you can do as you're building your aerobic foundation of mileage first. You can do those strides, and over time, over a 6-month block of training, you will have spent several miles, several kilometers at near sprint paces. And that, I promise you, over a long period of time, over a 6-month block of training, is going to improve your body's lactate tolerance. You're going to be able to sustain goal race pace. And I promise you, Jeff, you're going to go from 3:58. It's not impossible for you to go down under 3 hours, even at 51 years old. I mean, it's very impressive he ran that fast. I coached a guy that had a PR of 3:46. He ended up running 2:58, broke 3 hours. He told me, he's like, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that I would have broke 3 hours. So it can be done. And just stay focused, Jeff, and anybody else watching this video, keep that drive, that high amount of drive and motivation that you all have. You're going to get the results. If you're ready to take your training and racing to the next level, check out the resources below my videos or on RunDreamAchieve.com. They're there to help take you to the next level and help you to set yourself up for success. If you have any other questions regarding this topic or any other topic, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I will definitely reach back out and respond to all of you. Thanks for your support. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos on your social media accounts. I really appreciate that. And we'll talk to you guys and gals all in the next video.